EndPlasticSoup is the initiative that started bottom up from 5 different Rotary clubs, 4 in Amsterdam and 1 of my club. And we raised this initiative to end plastic soup. And plastic soup is the name for all the plastic pollution in our environment. And we all know it's a big problem, and I will tell you more about that. And this is not just about Rotary, it's about Rotary, Rotaract and Interact in action to end plastic soup. And we have an approach, which you can see here with the title, which is about awareness, action and alliances. Let me tell you more about this. First of all, it's the global environmental initiative for Rotary to solve and prevent plastic pollution. So it's not just to clean up, it's across the full life cycle of plastic, starting with finding different materials to do our packaging, creating and designing different products or products differently so that we don't have multiple layers of plastic and different plastic types altogether, and ensure that we do not have plastic waste anymore. So in all, it also means that you have 100% recycling of your plastic remains. We are not against plastic. I think plastic is a fantastic product that has allowed us to raise our comfort. We have lightweight bicycles, etc. We couldn't do without plastic, but we can do without single-use plastic, and we can do a lot about decreasing the problems we currently experience. So plastic soup, as you see here, is all the plastic waste in our environment. And this is a picture on the Moluccan in Indonesia, where Holland has a strong relationship with, and many people in my hometown come from here, from this island of Saparua, where the picture was taken. And you see a river of plastic, and we all know the pictures. Today, we have about 80 ambassador clubs and hundreds of clubs in action in 43 countries around the world. And I think it's pretty amazing for an initiative that started 3.5 years ago. And it's cost me, or you could say, to stop my work. I was IBM program manager and consulting leader, technology service for the Benelux. When this hit me, you could say 2.5 years ago, when we were in Hamburg at the International Convention, and we got so many supporters, 1,600 signatures, support from John Yuko, our Secretary General, from all the presidents, Mark Maloney, Barry Resin, and all the directors. And I was just amazed by this big organization and how powerful it can be in relationships to people that we otherwise do not have access to. And in Holland, we are pretty down to earth. But when you look to the relationships we have in the Philippines, I got personal invitations from the top, and you really are, yes, this is it. This is what we would like to be. How much time do I have, Marianne?
Well, I thought about 20 minutes altogether.
Okay, then.
Could you make it, you think?
No,
we can always invite you back, by the way.
Yes, I'll just speed up. So first, the real problem is that plastic never goes away. It just gets smaller. And I think it's important, although this is not a good message, but I will give you the positive message as well, that this is really a problem. When I found out 2 years ago how big the problem was, I was shocking. Because before that, I thought, well, plastic, yes, okay, it kills animals, 1 million birds a year, and whales have their stomach full of plastic, etc., and goats die from plastic. It's all a shame, and we feel really a pity for all these animals. But yes, okay, there are other problems that are also big, but this is really one of the biggest problems we have. It's bigger than anything, I think, and we don't realize it because we don't know. We have been kept in the blind by the plastics industry, an industry that's $4 trillion a year. That's 100 times more powerful than the weapon industry and the tobacco industry together. They influence us. So plastic is now, microplastics and the nanoplastics, they're now in plankton all over the world, where we measure and where we work together with expeditions. And they measure, they catch plastic, plankton, they measure it, and you can see it under the microscope. You can see the plastic inside the bodies. They're between 1 millimeter and 20 millimeters big, yeah, plankton, and you can see it. And the plankton is the start of our food chain. It is responsible for up to 60% of the carbon dioxide absorption. Not the trees, not the Amazon, not the plants, not all the grass. No, the ocean does this, the plankton. And it's responsible for up to 80% of the oxygen production. Also, not the trees. We all think that the trees do magnificent things, but the trees, when you burn them, they cause a lot of carbon dioxide, and the oceans are really our lungs. Second is that plastic is in our bodies as we sit here, because the nanoplastics are 100 times smaller than the cell dimensions of our skin and our blood chain veins. So because of air pollution and all kind of things like clothing causes plastic dust, car tires, but of course also all the cosmetics that contain microplastics. And the microplastics get into our blood within 6 hours. So in Holland, we have a cream called oil of Olaas, popular with women. To put it on their face for night and morning. You put about 80,000 plastic particles on your face in one strike. 80,000 particles. And so you get a plastic face, you could say, which looks quite nice and shiny, but that's not the thing. It gets into your skin, into your body, into your blood. And we don't know how it hurts because it has never been investigated. What we do know is that the additives on plastic, all the things that give it characteristics like bending and color and all the things, different plastics you have, these additives, 95 of them are poisonous, but of course still certain dimensions. We now know that the dimensions used in the European Union are 6 times lower than they should be. So we experience more things, and that's for the average man, let alone women or children. And what we do know, it affects our hormone system. So girls get into puberty earlier, and even the unborn child gets the additives in its blood before it's being born. That has an impact on the organs, it has an impact on anything. And the hormone system is especially sensitive to these plastic additives. You only need a tiny bit and it changes away. So what we have found in the EndPlasticSoup Foundation, our alliance did a lot of investigations together with 15 universities in the past 2 years, that it does impact our fertility. Meaning that biodiversity is impacted on land and sea because earthworms and animals just get less children. And we as humans as well. So the impact is not really known yet, because the exposure times is so important, but we do see that boys are now 20% less fertile, and girls as well, than they were several years ago. So the chance that we get our grandchildren to get children again gets less and less. So altogether, it has a big impact on climate change, biodiversity, our health, and our children. And then the forecast is that we get 2 more times plastic in the new plastic in the next 10 years. This is what the plastics industry tells us themselves. The activists say it's 4 times more. And we already cannot cope with the plastic waste that we produce. So we need new policies and legislation to make a market that can do recycling, that bends it over to use recycled plastic, etc. And today we use 1 million plastic bottles every minute. So 1 million new plastic bottles, not recycled ones, new plastic bottles every minute. 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. It's amazing. And we have in Holland, about 20 kilos of dust in our living room. 6 kilos of them per year is plastic. We breathe plastic. It impacts our lungs, our immune system. And we do know that there is a big chance that it has a relationship, nylon has a relationship with breast cancer, for example. This has to be proven. Is it the truth? No, not yet. But the probability is pretty big. So I think we should start a campaign to make bras without nylon. But you cannot buy a single one, not even if it's very expensive. While it only costs less than $1 to make it. Technology is amazing. And that's where the hope starts. We can do so much together. we, Rotaract, Interact, can make a difference. And together we can create a lasting change. Our ambition is that in 2050, we have no more problem. And together with alliances, we can tackle this problem throughout the full cycle. Reduce, use no single-use plastic first, use less, and reuse, use longer. A short movie, and then
news for plastics and pollution that are potentially destroying our planet are part of everyday life. Rotary had to act.
And this campaign is called EndPlasticSoup Now.
A campaign that went viral with ambassador clubs now all over the world. We raise awareness in the local communities. We instigate small and large projects, from local litter picks to river and lake cleanups. And with the aid of project partnerships and our own global grants, we help fund sustainable collection and recycling projects. Through the power of Rotary, we can even lobby the big boys to change their ways. Find out more. Email endplasticsoup@gmail.com or visit our website.
So we have objectives. The objectives are mainly focused on education to children, because that's the next generation, and on alliances to do projects that are really impactful. And we work together with many alliances. So here you see Uganda, picture of Kampala South, and a picture of our bag, our education bag in Germany. We have lots of innovations on education, alternatives, cleanups, and recycling. And what you can see here is some cleanup and recycling examples. For example, to build houses or tiny houses out of recycled plastic, out of plastic waste, that are really luxury. So if you see this house in the middle, it's a three-part building of 76 square meters with a bathroom, etc. It's really, really luxurious. And you can do a lot. The inside is wood because of climate situations, but it's fully climate, I said it, adopted. It uses its own water, its own electricity, and it's resistant against earthquake and hurricanes. Our company Alliance on the Philippines builds over 100 different products out of plastic, like they built 300,000 school chairs, these little chairs. That saves a lot of wood, and they give an 18-year guarantee on it. So I'll show you some of the examples. One of it is this boat. We cleaned the River Drina last year, and I'll just show you a little bit of this so you get the image. It's a power dam that was stopped because of the waste in the middle of the winter last year.
Pollution. Polluted beyond belief. This is the Visegrad Dam on the River Drina in Bosnia-Herzegovina.
This is the little boat.
2021. The cleanup mission begins with the Collectex boat. This is the first of many projects for Collectex and EndPlasticSoup. Coverage from the press came from Europe and as far away as the Washington Post. Rotary Aachen is the coordinating Rotary club on this project. A huge challenge to clear the plastic waste from a highly polluted area. Currently, EndPlasticSoup cleanup actions are taking place on the River Danube in Serbia, and we plan to start a follow-up project in Bosnia-Herzegovina in November 2021. Not only will this remove much of the pollution, but it will also include an education and awareness program. EndPlasticSoup in action.
So what you see, the real problem is the landfills in the former Yugoslavia countries. There's no waste management system. So people can dump their waste only on these landfills, and then it soaks into the river and it stops the dam. And we cleaned that area in 5 weeks, but that's of course only a one-off. And now we try to set up a waste management system, and we got the attention from the president and the ministers in that country. And the mission now starts again in March. We have a few delay because of the Bosnian Serbians that almost caused a war. It's still very dangerous there. And we were at the point of getting a new war like in the 90s with many refugees, but now it looks fine. And together with the Rotary clubs, and there you can also see the impact of being Rotarians and working together. We can do this action. Another is the bubble barrier in Katwijk, Netherlands, where this is a tube on the bottom of a river with holes in it. You put a compressor on one side and the pressure takes care of causing air bubbles, just normal bubbles in the river. And these are so strong that they just put all the waste to the side into a catchment system. And this bubble barrier had some challenges because of the big the pumping station behind it, because it has to pump the water out of this low country, the Netherlands, into the North Sea. And when there's high water, the pressure has to be strong enough to still do its work. And also we had a challenge with the glass eel. The eels get back from the Sargasso Sea at the Atlantic into the River Rhine, where they give birth to small glass eels, and they have to swim all the way back through the pumping station, but also through these bubbles. And that was done by putting the bubble barrier just a little bit above the bottom. It will be operational in March, and you can already see a bubble barriers in the canals in Amsterdam. We have a recycling factory in Almere, just across my hometown. And in the World Expo of the Floriade, which starts on the 14th of April till October, it's the expo just starts right after the Dubai, the World Expo. It's called Growing Green Cities, and we are there with a plastic recycling house and recycling possibilities, and hopefully play a role in showing how we can build a better world. This is an education program in Ghana, where we try to set up a program to get education into 30,000 schools through a teach the teacher, etc. hierarchy. And the River Nile, it's the most polluted river in the Mediterranean. And by giving fisher nets to the families there, 230 families, and teaching them how to recycle plastic into bags, we now have a global grant for a second boat to really look at the hotspots of plastic in the River Nile. And step by step, because you cannot do this. If you have once seen the total polluted area there are 1 million people in Cairo that just live from the waste. So when you take the waste away, you cause the death to 1 million people, more or less. So we need to do this step by step. And that's exactly our slogan. Start today, do it step by step, but do it together. And we do it also together with our young ambassadors. We now have 4 of them, even 6. And some of them are really famous in their part of the world, like Melati and Isabel Wijsen, the young leaders of Bye Bye Plastic Bags from Bali, and in 60 countries around the world. Also in South Africa, you can work together with them, and they help us and we help them. It's really amazing. If you look to the movies, the videos available on our site. This is Nina from Indonesia. I will not show the video here, but you can look at it yourself. And Amy and Ella Meek from Kids Against Plastic in the UK. All this material can be used straight away also in South Africa. And it could be a very good starting point to look at real action. But you yourself should give the example, and you can start today. Pick up a piece of plastic outside when you are out there tomorrow, or take a plastic diet. Stop using single-use plastic when people package your flowers, refuse the plastic, etc. And go to the local communities and say, what can we do? And tell people about cigarette butts, because one cigarette butt causes 4 liters of water to be poisoned forever. Yeah, and it's worse. So look at the apps. The Plastic Bingo app is our own app that you can use during a cleanup and make a game or a match of it. We invite many volunteers from my hometown to do the Plastic Bingo, and you give a reward for that, who has all 16 articles found. And My Little Plastic Footprint is from our Alliance the Plastic Soup Foundation, shows you ways how you can reduce your own plastic footprint. We have action days in March, but especially the 4th of June, which is our worldwide End Plastic Action Day, always the first Saturday of June. So the first day of the Rotary Convention, you could say. That's when we started, and that's what we keep alive. And we have hundreds of clubs doing actions to raise awareness. And it's amazing when you see all the pictures. We have action packages for clubs, so to help you a little bit with ideas and inspiration. And that's what we also do together in our ambassador club meetings every 6 weeks, to have clubs together and share experience from Asia to South America, to Africa, to Europe, to the US and Canada, to Russia even, and Scandinavia. And we try to inspire each other, give examples, what works and how you can do things in a creative way. And then we hope you become our ambassador club. And as an ambassador club, we also expect you to be a supporter club. It's €200 a year or €500 for 3 years. And then you support our projects. And what we do is we send you a flag with your club name on it that you can use during awareness sessions to show yourself. But we also expect that you can inspire other clubs in your district or your area to become a participating club for EndPlasticSoup. As a friend club, you pay €50. That's what we need to make the flag and send it over in the postal business. And that's what you can find at the website. Yeah. To close off, and then some questions, maybe a small commercial that might be comical.
Children and adults from all
Ironic,
over
at least.
delight in the irresistible flavor of the biggest soup in the world, the plastic soup. Prepared only with unnatural ingredients, just like we found it in the oceans. And yes, we followed the most poisonous recipe. With the strongest shopping bags, the most colorful packaging and all kinds of disposable products, and now with even more clothes microfibers. An unwholesome treat for everyone's palates. Daily eaten by turtles, whales, birds, fish, and even shellfish. Get it now in the 40-gram size. The precise amount of plastic each person dumps into the ocean every month. Give in to the latest trend. The soup to end all soups, and indeed to end everything and everyone. The plastic soup. Get it now on plasticsoup.info.
Well, you get the message. Yeah.